Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Lair of OmnusI. I'm OmnusI, of course, and here with you today to kind of put a capstone on the year that was 2020. 2020 was a harsh year. There's a lot of changes that we've all had to become accustomed to. Nobody is entirely thrilled with most of them, I would imagine. And, of course, we've kind of had to get used to a whole new life. We've lost some people along the way, and we miss them very much. We've seen people put through extraordinary hardship. We've seen people who are crushed by the unfairness of all of the terrible events that took place over this year. We've seen communities ripped asunder. We've seen any number of examples of the worst side of humanity. It's truly been an eye-opening year. But it is my belief that through hardship, through these examples of the worst that we're capable of doing, it also serves to highlight the best that we're capable of doing. I've seen people reach out across ideologies, across racial divides, and genuinely try to understand other people and try to come to some sort of concord. I've seen people who have dared, even in the face of a pandemic that would intimidate anyone, they've dared to try to make something new, to bring out something good yet in this year. And some of them have succeeded admirably. I've seen that we can, even while at each other's throats seemingly all the time, been able to really make some inroads in the conversation about what is good and right and what is worth keeping in the community. And I think we're a little bit further along since many of these things that have come up have really put things into perspective. I believe that people are a little bit closer now to getting rid of some of the shackles and preconceived notions that we've labored under for so long. I think we're ready to become a better grade of people. That's certainly my hope, and I think the best thing that can come out of 2020. Yes, we've got a hopeful vaccine, or a couple of them, that may help us with the pandemic. Yes, there's a bunch of unemployed people around who might be able to cobble together something greater than what they left behind. And in the gaming community, in the hobby that I love, there are people who are forging connections and trying to find the things that will allow them to enjoy what they once enjoyed so freely, perhaps under different circumstances. But now, I think, with our having to adapt to an environment of technology where we can play with each other long distances, and that's become something of the new normal, I think we're going to see greater and greater things formed by these chance acquaintances now as people are thrown together over the digital space that might never have met face to face. New friendships, new understandings of each other. That's my hope. Maybe it's a little bit pie in the sky, maybe it's not as realistic, but it is my hope that this good does come out of this year. Here at the Lair of OmnusI, we've been quite lucky. Nobody in my family has really suffered unduly, and while I have had someone who's faced the COVID scare, they've survived and so far don't seem to have any great after effects. For those of you who've lost loved ones to the pandemic and to all the other things through this year, you have my sympathies. This has been a very hard year. And even though I've escaped some of the worst of it, it still resonates through all of us who have a shred of empathy for each other. So, if you're hurting this holiday season, this end of 2020, and just looking forward to get an end of it, I understand, and I suffer with you. I had a friend that I've made online who recently lost his life partner, and I've traveled along that journey with him a bit, vicariously perhaps, only offering counsel and support, and what little I could. But I know this has been a terrible year. But we have tried to make new things, haven't we? I've made some inroads this year, and I like to celebrate those. The online community may sometimes be toxic and terrible, where we say awful things to each other without care, because all are turned cowards in the face of the internet. My mental editor is now so exercised that I believe it can bench press a truck. But we must try to maintain civility. But I have made some progress. I have made some inroads. My own personal endeavors, I've perhaps not had the output of videos as I did back in 2016, 2017, when the channel was young and fresh. But I haven't lacked for ideas, certainly. And I've really settled into a life spent vicariously watching my newest friends who have succeeded and continue to put out great materials. And I've made friendships that I hope will last for a long time. Two that come most readily to mind are the friends that I've made in the community, Dale. Yes, I haven't even started drinking yet. My friends that I've made in the Benchleydale community, from Benchleydale and beyond, under lifetime game master Tim Connolly, a very decent person and somebody who I admire quite a bit, whose taste for Gonzo Adventure has attracted him scores of friends and followers, and his love of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons has brought him notoriety among the gaming community, among various people who make and develop products, to the point where he has reached heights hitherto unbeknownst to me that anyone could be a focus of such a cult of personality, that he seemingly without effort draws in all of these disparate elements of the gaming community, people who craft beautiful things for gamers, people who have brilliant talents and put them together and forge a shared community that is brilliant. I've met my new favorite fantasy artist, Chet Mitten, which is cool through Benchleydale, so I'm immensely grateful. And there's a lot of great people there that I've met that I really feel genuine warm feelings for. It's a fun community, lighthearted, a little not safe for work perhaps, but they're great folks, and I'm very grateful that I got a chance to meet them, occasionally to entertain them. And even though I can't play with them, I still enjoy their company and the marvelous endeavors that come out of Benchleydale. Also this year, I've managed to connect with some new friends for a company called GUI Cube, who make fantastic gaming products. I haven't yet had the thrill of having my hands on any of their physical products. That won't come until next year. But from what I've seen and read of their things, they are wondrous storytellers of their own, with a fantastical world and very, very ambitious dreams. And under their leader, Alphinius Gu, they offer something that you don't see very often in the gaming community. A chance for everybody to come to the table and help to create something similar to Benchleydale, but instead creating a printed world that can be displayed before everyone. Now, Benchleydale has some nice inroads going on with possible, maybe even a movie, but certainly an illustrated piece for the comic Heavy Metal. But GUI Cube, they publish adventures and they publish dreams in their own way. And I have an incredible amount of respect for them. And I'm very glad they've allowed me to be a very small part of their designs and their development. Very welcoming crowd. So those are two that I'd like to highlight because they really do make me thankful for what has happened in 2020. They allow me to be able to focus on something other than the horrible things that have happened. They really do help to lift me out of otherwise what might have been a very gloomy end of the season little capstone to this 2020 year. So I'm very grateful for my new friends, and of course to all of you. For those of you who stuck with me, for those of you who, despite the fact that I don't perhaps produce as much as I used to, perhaps for those of you who may have found a little bit different tone in some of my works, let's face it, I change just as much as anyone. But I'm grateful for all of you. Everyone who has been here with me from the beginning, for those of you who have joined on with me from perhaps seeing my work where I've advertised it in various social media sites, or hopefully maybe a little word of mouth. Maybe somebody saw one of my videos and said, you've got to see this guy. Perhaps, whatever. I'm very grateful to all of you. Never think otherwise, please. I'm very grateful for every one of you who took the time to watch one of my videos, to like, or to subscribe to me. I'm very grateful, and I hope that I continue to put out content that amuses you, entertains you, perhaps even informs you or inspires you. So, with that, this isn't all just talky-talky. I thought that I would give you a rendition of my own, admittedly parodied work, but it is my own original, which I call "'Twas the Night Before Christmas, Gamer Edition," written by Rob Gustafson, also known as The Legend of Santa Orc. 'Twas the gaming night before Christmas, when in the gaming room the players were yakking in the dungeon-like gloom. The players reclined in their nice, comfy chairs, wondering what treasures soon would be theirs. In just a few moments, the DM appeared, his face set in a grin, tucked in under his beard. The DM picked up his dice and slung them with conviction. The players grew fearful. What was their Christmas mission? The dungeon was still full of monsters and slime, so they scarcely realized what was coming this time. When what to their characters' ears should resound but a fat orc in a sleigh, pulled by 8 tiny hellhounds. He leaped out of the sleigh with as smooth as pulled pork. They were being confronted by the mighty Santa Orc. The players barked out their orders, their tactics rehearsed. They had no way of knowing that would just make things worse. The fighter charged forward. The mage chanted spells. The cleric chanted a prayer to send this new foe to hell. With a wave of pure magic and a sadistic cackle, the orc knocked the characters down like doomed cattle. He stood now above them. They saw him in good light. They wished that they hadn't. He was quite the sight. His muscles were rock hard. He had magic tattoos. His face looked like something you'd scrape off of your shoes. He reached for his bag, slung over his back, dropped it down on the thief's gut. He began to unpack. For the fighter, a new sword, old blood also included. For the priest, a new mantle that looked freshly looted. For the wizard, a power ring, no mind the severed finger. For the thief, some new poisons with no taste left to linger. Then he rummaged through all their things, and he drank all their ale. All the elf swine, too, then said, "Oi, I gots to bail." Then he wobbled to his sleigh, and looked for the reins. If not for the booze in him, on the seat they were plain. As the characters groaned in wonder and started to rise, Santa Orc cracked the reins against his strong thighs. "On whatsits, on whatnot, on thingamajigger, on... Oh, just shut up now, my hangover will be bigger." Off they all flew then, through several dungeon walls, causing slightly less damage than the party's last bar brawl. The characters shook their heads, faces twisted in shock. They soon pulled out their pencils and began to take stock. The DM grinned widely and called it a night, handed out the last experience earned from many a fight. So you who are listening, hear me now and prepare. Santa Orc could be coming, so you'd better beware. This, of course, is a little poem that celebrates a tradition I've had for many, many years, where when the holiday season comes along and I am but a poor dungeon master or game master, what have you, I enjoy giving out gifts to my players in-game, something that they can enjoy, oftentimes with some delivery system like Santa Orc. Sometimes it's a big party that they get into or something like that, and we usually have a bit of fun with it. But I just wanted to give this to you as a gift, and also, like I said, I would like to touch on this year and look for what I'm grateful for and the things that I genuinely did enjoy this year. We've got new games, of course, and new friends and new groups. I've been very, very fortunate, and I hope that you are able to count some blessings this year to look past what's been done to all of us by a very vicious set of unfortunate circumstances, and move forward into 2021 with hope in your heart, with a game at your table, a smile on your face, and hopefully a measure of peace to all of you. I am OmnusI, and I thank you for joining me here in my lair, and look forward to more coming out from the Lair of OmnusI in the year of 2021. Thank you, and may you always find the game that's right for you. Farewell.